Good morning or good afternoon, depending on what time you're going to listen to this presentation. It's a pleasure for me to share with you this topic, Open Educational Resources, a strategy to reduce the know-how gap in ethics of research in pregnancy. This project has been done due to a fellowship selected by the Global Forum on Bioethics in Research around the meeting theme, Ethics of Research in Pregnancy. At first, I want to express my gratitude to Maggie Little, at that time the director of the Kennedy Institute of Ethics from Georgetown University, and also to Florencia Luna, the director of the Bioethics program from FLACSO, Argentina, both the collaborators of the project, to Laura Bishop for her kind collaboration, as well as to all the members of the Bioethics Research Library. Also, my gratitude to Dr. Carla Sáenz, the Regional Bioethics Advisor at the Pan American Health Organization, for her interesting insights, to the Magister Gabriel Listovsky, the Regional Coordinator of the Virtual Campus of Public Health from the Pan American Health Organization, who kindly introduced me to the importance topic of the open educational resources, and of course to the Wellcome Trust and the Global Forum on Bioethics in Research for their important support. If we move towards the agenda, I would like to share with you the goals and the project development that includes the possibility to navigate through the blog of the project, to share some topics addressed by the project, and also some challenges and new venues of collaboration. Regarding the selection of the theme, and connecting my background as a mentor, as you all know, the identification of a problem is not an easy task. So in that sense, I try to integrate a domain very close to me, and research ethics plus education came knocking at my door. One of the goals of the project was to develop an in-depth analysis of topics related to ethics of research in pregnancy, and based on the strengths of the open educational resources in order to promote a dialogue that contribute to build capacities in the topic of ethics of research in pregnancy, as an additional purpose that the project becomes a reliable source in the field of bioethics. I would also like to share with you some ideas coming together that definitely contributed to the development of the project. As an example, access to information to reduce knowledge gaps, the importance of social learning theories plus collaborative and dialogical thinking, both essential in the field of bioethics, the enlightening experience to attend the Kennedy Institute of Ethics and the Bioethics Research Library, and as an additional purpose, the possibility of networking and to keep the project updated. In order to achieve the additional purpose, I decided to run a blog, and I invite you, especially in the next slide, to navigate through the blog. As I mentioned before, this is the front of the blog, and at the left side of the screenshot you can see the address tiam.blogspot.com, due to its acronym in Spanish, Ética de la Investigación en el Embarazo. At the front, you can see the welcome to the blog as an educational environment for building knowledge in research ethics in pregnancy, the acknowledgements, and the menu with the home, about the project, and the blog, where I explain more in depth the goals and the meaning of the open educational resources, a link to the bioethics program of the Latin American Faculty of Social Sciences, and below the title, the context in which the project took place. So, if we continue browsing the blog, you can see in another part of the blog the question of what is an open educational resource and its importance, and according to the definition of UNESCO, open educational resources are teaching, learning, and research materials in any medium, digital or otherwise, that reside in the public domain or have been released under an open license. As examples of open educational resources, it can be, for example, PowerPoint presentations, posts of a blog, for example, podcast, or any other tool that you can use for learning purposes. If we moved on in the next slide, where you can see how it looks like an open educational resource, in this case number 6, that suggests to make interviews with key actors on the topic of research ethics in pregnancy. It is important also to notice that although the blog has been written in Spanish, there are many open educational resources written in English, and towards the purpose of this presentation, many of the posts has been translated into English with a tool that you can see at the left side of the blog. At the same time, each open educational resource has a title, the source of materials and the link to them, a suggested audience, the potential scope of use, and a summary of the open educational resource. And at the end, a suggested activity, like for example in this case, to identify a key actor to carry out an interview, oral or written, and to make a list of preliminary questions that you consider of interest to ask the person who you interview. And at the same time, at the end of the open educational resource, there is a form to fill in for educational and evaluation purposes. Based on this, I would like to share with you some issues regarding the justification for the use of the blog as a kind of social media tool that allows to share ideas with different audiences and engage those audiences in a conversation. Most blogs display a series of posts in reverse chronological order, the newest post at the top and the older posts below. So in this sense, perhaps this blog is an open educational resources repository. And the question that remains important is whether it's time now to move some of the open educational resources to one side of the blog and to keep the other side of the blog to develop a conversation regarding the topic of ethics of research in pregnancy and to keep the project alive. So blogs can also be helpful tools as educational settings for informal and for formal writing. At the same time, the capacity of blogs to support multiple forms of media like images, videos, links, and so on can help to bring creativity to the communication. And as an additional purposes, in order to deepen writing skills and communicate ideas effectively, both of importance in the field of bioethics, to set up rules about posting and comments, the comment section allows colleagues to share thoughts and opinions, and I encourage you to visit the blog and to comment. And also it's a place where you can discuss plagiarism as a teaching moment that enables the inclusion of integrity. In summary, as blogs can be an excellent balance between the rigor and structure of a formal written assignment and the freedom to experiment with ideas and arguments, I decided to run another blog. This blog explores topics regarding teaching bioethics. You can also see the address at the left side of the screenshot, and I encourage you to visit it and to participate. And this blog was created as a final project during the Children's Mercy Certificate Bioethics program, and my deep gratitude to Dr. John Lantos for his kind support and his leadership. And it's very interesting because under the umbrella of the topic of teaching bioethics, you can also include the theme of ethics of research in pregnancy. This blog also includes another part in the menu, blogs collaborators, that we really thank you for and encourage you to participate in the blog. There is no minimum post required to be a contributor to the blog, and you can also do it at your own pace. Returning to the main subject addressed by the project that was also the focus of this presentation, I would like to share with you some of the topics addressed by the project and some of the questions that each open educational resource tries to answer. For example, in ethics of research in pregnancy, less is better, and as you see, each question was inspired by a scientific article. Research on pregnancy through the lens of pregnant women, and agreements and controversies around the precautionary principle in research ethics in pregnancy. Finally, and coming to an end of these presentations, I would like to share with you some of the challenges For example, to develop a reliable source of knowledge building in the topic of ethics of research in pregnancy, as we mentioned before, to move from an open educational repository to a broader educational environment that lets and encourages discussions that include the strengths provided by the global context, and to also identify additional evaluation measurements to promote networking and also to keep the project alive. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and I will be very happy to share with you additional comments and proposals. So I invite you to meet in a Zoom platform next June 21 at 5 p.m. Eastern Time in this link, and hope you have enjoyed the meeting. Thank you very much.